I felt fat from the age of 8, which is super young. And that, has lingered with me most of my life, this idea of I'm not enough until I lose X, Y, and Z pounds. And feeling it, really dealing with the whole spectrum of eating, from more of the anorexia bulimia side in junior high to more compulsive overeating, struggling with that in college and then actually post-college. So kind of in that full spectrum in between, right? Just always that yo-yo weight dieting, and that I'm not enoughness showed up with, in college feeling like I'm not enough for a boyfriend, and so sabotaging different relationships, feeling like I'm not enough to open my own business and work for myself, to be seen, to be heard, really, really being seen. That was so scary, right? It used to take me forever getting dressed in the morning, because I'd be like, well, does this make my stomach look big?
You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on.
Hello, dear ones. I am so excited to be with you here today. I am bringing you something so special and exciting. This is the first of the series of the Ambition and Grace series. The first of the Ambition and Grace series. And what that is you'll come to know, is the opportunity for us to be with another amazing person who is doing beautiful things in the world. And I'm just excited to be able to do this interview series. Today we've got Emily Wishall, and she's a dear friend of mine. I think we've known each other for a few years now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And she's a Rolfer, and she is an embodiment coach. And I'll let her explain what all that means. But what I love so much about Emily is she's just this human being that is bringing so much consciousness to the world. And she has this ability to own her boundaries and speak her truth in a way that is so inspiring to me. So I just want you to know that. That's really inspiring to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. You've taught me a lot about boundaries and what we say, doing what we say. I mean, I try to have my own boundaries and do what I say I'm going to do, but you hold a very strong light in that regard. So thank you for that.
Wow. Thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate receiving that and hearing that. And yeah. I'm excited to get to be here today. Yeah. So I guess I'll just share a little bit about my work and what maybe embodiment coach is a new term for people. Like, what the heck does that actually mean? So my intention with my work is, I work predominantly with women. I do work with men, but predominantly with women, and really helping them to reclaim and own their body. So a lot of my clients, maybe they start out feeling insecure, feel ashamed in their body, or apologizing in their body in some way. And I help these women to really own and claim their body, right? Like, what does it mean to be embodied? And it's not just a snap your fingers, you're there. It's this unraveling process, layer by layer, deeper by deeper, building this connection from the inside out. Like, how can we find our own inherent strength and support that's always there? But how do we get to access that and allow I do a lot of work with alignment, both structurally, so with the physical body, but then how does that then manifest into the emotional, mental, spiritual realm? So I really also am like, wow, really appreciating receiving that feedback that you just shared, Brandy, of that. I do tend to, I do my best, and always, but stick to my word and say what I'm going to do. There's this quote by Gandhi, when he defined integrity as when what you say, what you do, and what you think are all in alignment. And that is really, I feel like, such a foundational inspiration from the work that I do, from how I desire and intend to lead my life, is how do we get to do that? And so working with alignment first from the physical body, and letting that inherent strength and support from the bones, from those true postural muscles, letting what I call our external shell, so more those extrinsic, larger muscle groups just relax and release. And we let go of that facade, that mask that so many of us are either consciously or often unconsciously projecting on to show up in the world as a way that's incongruent and inauthentic as how we feel on the inside. And that was my own posturing for years, and I felt insecure for many years, but I had really quote unquote good posture that was really rigid, and it was my way of pretending to the world, trying to prove to the world that I was okay, that I was good, so that I could be accepted, because I had this underlying belief that if people knew I felt fat, or if people knew that I felt lonely or insecure, that meant something was wrong with me. So I work a lot with women leaders and really helping them to inhabit this physical vehicle so that they are able to give back greater to their communities, to their families, to their clients, and do so from a place of ease. Not saying that it's easy, but from a place of ease, meaning they don't have to, there's not so much projection or proving, and it's more, here they are, just in their body, enjoying their own inherent pleasure, while still being secure and stable and grounded.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, and one of the things that I love about your work is that what I'm hearing you say, and what may be coming across for people who don't understand your work, is this is kind of more of a physical process. But knowing your work and knowing you, I actually see this as more of a spiritual process. Yeah, and how I see it, and you can certainly speak more to this, is that you help people get into their core and move the layers off of the shell, of the veil of whatever story we've created for ourselves that then gets projected into the physical world. And then as you begin to help people own that truth, that authenticity from their core, from their spirit, from the energetics of who they really are on this planet, then it becomes who they be in the physical. Then it becomes alignment in their body. Can you speak more to that?
Yeah, that's a great point. Wow, how do I speak more to that? You defined it so well. I think my work, I interlay both, because I do believe it is important to not leave behind the structural physical component. So even say if I am going to work with a client who's not, physically located near me, so they're not going to get the hands-on Rolfing work, how can I help share from more of a structural point of, well, how do they sit in natural alignment? So really basic cues and awareness pieces. I never tell people specifically, oh, stand this way, sit this way. It's more of helping them build their own inner body awareness and noticing of, if my pelvis is in this position, I can feel the whole span of my sits bones. When I sit like that, it allows my spine to come upright and be a little easier. I've been sucking in my stomach for years because, right, God forbid, especially for us women, we have a stomach, like we eat food, we have babies, suck it in. What happens, right? We're literally sucking in our life force. We're creating more low back pain. That's getting into a little bit of a tangent, but I do believe that piece is really helpful. But then weaving that in with more, more of the spiritual, more of the emotional realm, and really tracking that. A lot of my work is, for example, I was on a call with a client yesterday, and she works a lot in the corporate world, has been in business for 20 years, works a lot with men, and she feels often like they don't respect her expertise, or will make little backhanded compliments. And she's was sharing how, well, if it was another man, they wouldn't have said that to her. And so we were really working with tracking where sensation was in her body.
Nice.
So really, really getting, and I believe for us women, our power lies in our body. But how do we track sensation, and then how do we allow that sensation? So say somebody who wants to be able to stand up more confidently and speak their truth, and they maybe bring up an example of when they're at a networking event, or when they're in front of their boss or that person in their life that really just triggers them and makes them feel anxious. Allowing them to take a step back, recreate that interaction in their mind, and go into what is happening physically in your body. Where is that sensation? Let's go there. Let's create a safe space so that it feels safe for that sensation to be present, so we're not just pushing it away, suppressing it, or what I like to call a quote-unquote spiritual bypass. I think it's really easy to just, we'll just meditate away, and we'll just feel really positive. That's only going to work so long. Let's really get real with what is present, allow that to flow through, and I find it leads to really dramatic and faster shifts than only looking at the mental, more as far as the typical coaching world, just only looking at the limiting beliefs, looking at affirmations when it's only just mind. How do we also then track that and own it and embody it? And but the spiritual piece, I mean, my own spiritual practice is a huge part of my life.
Sure.
And I see that integrity, right? That integrity piece, that cohesiveness as a way of living it, as a spiritual practice in itself.
Sure. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I love that because, as you know, when so many women, and I've been there myself, and there's still probably layers, but we disconnect from our bodies.
Yeah.
We don't want to feel. And a lot of women, if not all women, are empathic, at least on some level. And so with all the stuff going on in our world, in our political world, in the media, in our families, and the taxes and the bills and all the stuff, in the feelings of everyone else, of the whole planet. Like, I have literally stood on the planet and felt like the whole planet crying. Like, I have felt that in my body, right?
That's a lot to hold.
It's a lot, right? And I absolutely believe that every woman has the ability to feel this stuff.
Yeah.
We just close ourselves off to it because it's so incredibly painful.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're inviting people to get back into their bodies, which is where their power lies, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, there's so much trauma, and I think when when trauma has happened, when we've all experienced trauma to some degree in our life, we disassociate from our body, from a certain body part area, and that's just the pattern. And so it is, we've got to be able to, one, you need to be, if you're listening to this, you've got to have outside support to be able to help create that safe container to go there. Because I ask a lot of my clients, I always give them permission at any time to, like, if it doesn't feel available right now, we don't have to go that far. Let's just go to what feels accessible to you, but is it also a little bit of an edge. But really creating that safe container is so essential to allow yourself to be able to feel that, as opposed to we don't just have, it can be a lot. There is so much going on, and there are times when maybe you do just need to go pick up your kid, and it's maybe not the right time to process this whole emotion, but okay, when can you allow yourself to feel that? So it's just creating the space and the allowance. And I know I keep saying this safe container, but I really believe it's essential to have that structure, that support, have somebody from the outside who's there with you. And then, you can start to learn more. How do you find safety? How do you find security in your body to help train the nervous system, to help train the body that you're safe, so you're not in that fight or flight response, to allow that sensation to flow through.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because it can be really triggering work. It's scary. It's asking a lot, but it's really profoundly powerful.
Sure. So much power resides on the other side of the emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did hear just yesterday, and I can't remember where I heard this, that an emotion lasts about 90 seconds.
Oh. I feel like maybe I've heard that at some point in my life, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, 90 seconds? I can do anything for 90 seconds.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And you're right about timing, and, to stay awake to, okay, I've got this emotion, I feel it, it's not the time. When can I make time for myself? Can I give myself space? And my world is a very busy world, and I will be the first to tell you, I easily cut myself out of my own schedule before I cut anything else out. Like, it just happens, right?
Yeah.
So I literally have to schedule free time, schedule snowboarding, which was a great experience this morning. Thank you very
This
much.
morning we got to go snowboarding and skiing before we did this podcast. Awesome.
Yeah, so Emily runs this wonderful women's group, and she brought everybody skiing right near my house. So I got to join in and be a part of her women's group, which was really amazing. So if you want to speak a little bit to that, you're welcome to.
To the group? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a group called Wildly Successful Women.
Oh my gosh.
I was joking on the mountain today. I'm like, woo, show your wildly and successfulness. But there's a few different chapters. I run the Boulder chapter in Boulder, Colorado. Just a group for women to network, share about their businesses, but also be able to show up in a way that is congruent with how they feel on the inside. So I have noticed in networking and in going to different workshops or events, this trend of people feeling like they have to be like, quote unquote, really put together, or like, I've got it all figured out. Putting on a facade, but around their business, because, well, if you run a business, you've got to show up in that way, but how do we get to show up in a way that's congruent with whatever happened that morning? So really creating a group for women to come together to celebrate each other, but also if they're having a shitty day, where also there's space for that, right? There's that full spectrum of allowing our full spectrum as human beings while also showing up as the face of our business. So that's wildly successful women.
Love it. I love it.
And today we skied.
Yeah, we skied. It was so great. So I would like to just take a minute and just talk to you a little bit about how you got to this place, or have you talked to us, I guess, about how you got to this place of doing what you do. Like, what got you here? And
I thank you for asking that question, Brandy. What I've really noticed, especially in the last 2 years, that ultimately all of the things in my life thus far that I felt were really limiting, were really scary for me, were like there's a better word, but like my crutches in life are what have propelled me forward in my life and have gotten me here. Like really those insecurities are what have driven me. So, I'll go for kind of fast track story, but I felt fat from the age of 8, which is super young. And that, has lingered with me most of my life, this idea of I'm not enough until I lose X, Y, and Z pounds. And feeling it, really dealing with the whole spectrum of eating, from more of the anorexia bulimia side in junior high to more compulsive overeating, struggling with that in college and then actually post-college. So kind of in that full spectrum in between, right? Just always that yo-yo weight dieting. And that I'm not enoughness showed up with, in college feeling like I'm not enough for a boyfriend, and so sabotaging different relationships. Feeling like I'm not enough to open my own business and work for myself, to be seen, to be heard, really, really being seen. That was so scary, right? It used to take me forever getting dressed in the morning, because I'd be like, well, does this make my stomach look big? And what as I'm sure a lot of you maybe can relate to, it's amazing how life unfolds, and in ways that I could never have guessed or anticipated. Or if you would ask me, especially when I was a sophomore in college, when I was hardcore in the pharmacy track, I would have never guessed that this is where I would be. But at the same time, I feel like it's exactly where I'm supposed to be. But ultimately, my work, I feel, is inspired more and more from my own story and from what I've gone through and from what I've overcome.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what have you, like, what was your biggest struggle?
I mean, I can just share. So I've been in Boulder 5.5 years now. This, I feel like the most recent, when I first moved to Boulder, I was definitely dealt with mild depression. I didn't know anyone here. I moved to go to school at the Rolfer Institute of Structural Integration, which is a mouthful. And I worked as a nanny for a little girl, just one little girl. So I didn't meet anyone from work. All my classmates, really awesome close friends, but then they all moved away after the training, like all over the country, all over the world. And I knew like 2 people in Boulder. And I was going to start a practice. And I was like, what? So I really dealt with numbing myself from feeling that, right? Especially, I think women can probably really relate to that. When we have a desire, sometimes it's really scary to really allow ourselves to feel that desire, and so we numb it down, maybe before we even feel the full potency. And I knew I had a desire I did want to be seen, I did want to be heard, I knew I had a message inside. I felt pulled, even in my pre-pharmacy days, to really help people reach their full potential and to really help create transformation. But I myself wasn't leading my own life. I, wasn't initiating my own transformation. I was numbing out with Netflix, and I was binge overeating. For a long while. And I worked with multiple different coaches, did different trainings, received a lot of body work myself that all helped promote my healing and my own shift. Because I used to go to networking events and one, feel like nobody saw me or heard me, or two, if I showed up and was 5 minutes late, that was the excuse I needed to get out the door. I was like, oh, well, I'm 5 minutes late, I just shouldn't go to this group, because I had such anxiety about it. But little by little, just putting myself in those uncomfortable situations while building myself really from the inside out is really what's, yeah.
And now look at you, you're leading groups.
I know, and I speak a lot. I public speak for groups.
Yeah,
awesome. And you know, I my first coach was awesome, and actually we'd never met in person. We got to meet in person just like 2 months ago, which was so cool. But I started my trend working more from like the mental aspects, so looking at values, looking at limiting beliefs, and all of these things, and all were really helpful. But what I've really found in the last 2 years is really, really, what is it like to be in my own body? And that has been the quickest accelerator in transformation. And of course, there's more and more layers. Of course, there's more growing for me and more that I desire to expand. But it's just little by little. And really, I find, you know, that the I am not enough voice that I spoke to earlier, when I can anchor in, you know, connect to that center point of my pelvis, really be at home in my own body, be anchored in the present moment, that I am not enough voice, that comparison voice, it doesn't exist. The need to fill myself up excessively with food doesn't exist, because I feel full from the inside. That void isn't there, right? I feel like I belong to myself, and I always felt like I never belonged. And I felt like I craved community and belonging. And I used to go to this women's group when I was new in Boulder, and the woman said to me, Tani was her name, Emily, you will never belong until you belong to yourself.
Wow.
And those words, like, whew,
Wow.
hit me. And I remembered them just about a month ago. And I was like, oh, what has shifted? I feel like now I belong to myself. So that projection, or that attachment even, that clenchingness to like, oh, I've got to find a people, you know, it's shifted.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's fun to see that full circle, right?
Yeah, it's interesting even just saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Sure.
Can I ask you a personal
Of course.
question? You don't have to answer this.
Okay,
if you
I
don't
wonder what
feel
it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm just really curious. Was there a particular part of your body that you felt was really difficult to be in? Like it's hard, like for a lot of the women I work with, it's hard for them to be in their yoni, you know?
Yeah.
Like they have a very hard, especially because I work with a lot of sexually trauma and those kinds of people. I'm just curious, is there a part of your body that was hard for you to be in?
That's a good question. Well, a lot of the work I do with the Art of Feminine Presence work is womb space. And that's not the hardest, but I won't go on that story. I think really owning and claiming my thighs.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, because I actually wrote an article, I don't know, a couple months back called A Lifetime of Hiding My Thighs.
What a great article. Oh my gosh. And I will link to that in the show notes if it's up.
Sure, yeah, it's on my blog. Because I realized, you know, again, from that young age, I have memories specifically around my thighs. And, you know, a certain age, I started wearing more skirts and dresses, and I still love to wear skirts and dresses, but at that time, I chose to wear them because if I wore pants or jeans, like, oh my gosh, people can see how big my thighs are. And so to really love on them and claim them, and yeah, that is, and actually embody my thighs and the full, I was going to use the word girth. I will not use the word girth to describe my thighs. But to feel, you know, that full span of them, it has been, you know, scary. But in the last year, that has changed, because they allow me to ski, they allow me to hike up mountains, and a lot of love has come for them. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I just think your thighs are amazing.
Well, thank you. And I'm wearing leggings right now, so you can see them
They're
real well.
like really well built,
Ugh.
and you have a great shape and
You're
everything
so
about you.
kind.
Yeah,
Everyone
they're
should
great.
be interviewed by Dr. Brandy.
Well, I'm just telling you the truth. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that. I'm curious. I don't know if you have maybe like a quick something that you can share. I usually like to leave the women with a process, something they can
Okay.
do while they're listening or do
Yeah.
at home or in the shower or whatever. Is there something that you can help people like maybe get into a part of the body that they don't love so much?
Sure.
Awesome.
So I have two thoughts before I do.
Okay.
So one, do you want me to like do a quick guided visualization, or two, I have a quick tip that people can take away that women can. That'll help. Yeah.
Guided visualization. Let's go with a
Okay.
guided visualization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll just do
Okay.
like a 2-minute,
Yeah.
2-3 minute thing. So first, just check in with your own body, with yourself right now, and just notice, right? Notice how you feel in your body. Notice mentally, emotionally, where your thoughts are. So just kind of taking a before picture. And if it feels available, depending on where you're listening to this, if you're driving, you can pause it and listen to it later. But I invite you to have both feet on the floor and close your eyes. And just take a few easy breaths in and out. And really allowing the exhale to come through your mouth. And anytime that breath, passes the lips, that helps tell our nervous system we're safe. We can come back more into a parasympathetic, that rest and relax nervous system state. And really letting your breath come into your belly. And just starting to flow your attention down the lower half of your body. So feeling your energy go down through your legs, down through your feet, anchoring and rooting your feet at least 10 to 12 feet deep in the earth beneath you. And I do want to say, I invite you to play with all of this with really just gentle curiosity. So if you're listening to this and you aren't feeling much, if you're feeling distracted, just allow it. Allow it without judgment. It's all perfect. So really just have that gentle curiosity. And so this is specifically for women. So I will have us anchor into that center point of our pelvis into our womb space. So this space is about 3 inches below your navel, and it's back towards the spine. And regardless if you have your physical womb or not, it doesn't matter. It's still that energetic space. And really, this is our center of gravity. This is our place of creativity, both creating life, but then also the potential to create so much more. Our stamina, our strength reside in this space. We can ground here. I find like that unwavering confidence when I can anchor in here, that unshakableness. So just getting curious of what is it like if you could inhabit your entire pelvic bowl and really being rooted in that center point. And you can imagine a light, a crystal at your womb space, a color, whatever works for you. And just staying connected to that point before you open your eyes, just do a little scan again and just notice. How do you feel in your body now as opposed to before we began this? Where are your thoughts? What emotions are present? How do you feel physically? And you can open up your eyes, and I just invite you to really stay anchored into that point. And if you felt like you weren't able to access it, also totally okay. That is a lot to ask for women, especially if there's been sexual trauma, any sort of like miscarriages, hysterectomies. So really just noticing, how low in your body are you able to go? Can you come into your heart? Can you come into your stomach? Can you feel your feet on the ground? So just starting incrementally. But a lot of the foundation of the work I do with women is really helping and allowing them to come into this womb space. And It's such a powerful practice, and I'll often do a demo of what it's like to be in your head space versus womb space. It's dramatic. It's a total different shift. Women will often, the feedback they'll give me, and I'll say my marketing message from my head bubble, and so more in like headspace, so I'm not present, I'm lost in worry or future or comparison, projection, that kind of light. So if you are listening to this, even just think of your to-do list, right? And notice, how does that shift your attention? But when I do my marketing message from that place, the feedback I get from women is, one, it goes right over their head. They don't hear my words at all. They don't remember what I said. They don't trust me. Some of them start to feel uncomfortable in their own bodies, so they kind of want to almost take care of me. As opposed to when I say more or less the same words, my marketing message again, but from my womb space, really anchored in, the women automatically feel way more connected to me. Normally, more emotion is transmitted from me. I am more connected to my words. Women feel, it automatically makes me a more trustable, credible source because I'm centered in my own being. I'm not projecting on everyone else. So it's amazing what a dramatic shift it can be, and it's so easy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So I just invite you, if you did this practice and you noticed a shift, can you ask yourself 10 times in a day, am I home? Can you anchor into this place again and again and again and again?
Which I imagine that might be helpful if you're going to go to a meeting or talk to your boss or have that conversation with your child or your partner,
Completely.
Go into that space.
Completely. And that's why practicing it and having a daily practice is essential, because it allows us to be a little bit easier to stay in that place when we are in those places of conflict. Especially for women who want to be in a more leadership role, conflict isn't unavoidable. It's just a part of that. But how do we get to work on our own unwaveringness, unshakability? And so practicing this practice in situations that are a little easier. First, maybe just by yourself. And, I do small group work with women. It allows that space for safe witnessing and reflection. So that then if you do have that talk with your boss or your partner that you're just, so nervous about, or even if you're giving a presentation to maybe a group of men who feel kind of like, right? Often when that's the situation, we automatically, unconsciously leave our body. But how do you get to stay here? Yeah.
I love that. So important.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I know you also have a 5-day. Talk to me.
Yeah. So, for anyone, if you're listening to this and you're local, I do in-person Art of Feminine Presence groups, and those are limited to 6 women or less. It's a 5-part class series, so we meet a total of 5 times. One is starting March 6th. Yeah.
And you'll be doing these kinds of practices?
Yeah, so each class we teach a different practice or meditation that's physical and energetic for the women to really, the intention is to help them connect more with their feminine essence. So it's specifically for women who identify primarily with the feminine sex, and they feel better when they're in their feminine essence. But unconsciously, many of us have adopted a more masculine or neutral role of operating because of the examples that have been laid out, because of, wanting to be respected. We don't want to bring on unwanted sexual attention. So really, the practices really help us connect with our femininity and create, energetically find our boundaries, find our space, so you're not leaving, situations or the end of your workday completely exhausted or like you've just given everything away. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
And how can these ladies get in touch with you or find you?
So my website is wishallwellness.com. So it's wish all, like we wish all a Merry Christmas. It's a compound word. So yeah, just WISHALL wellness.com. And I do work with women. I can work remotely as well if they're not local. And I have a 3-month program for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow, this was just so great. This has just been a really great experience.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I adore you, Dr. Brandy Victory. I really do. And thank you for letting me share. And what an honor to get to be on Turn Your Soul On
Radio.
and the radio.
Yeah, and you're the first.
And the first interviewee.
And I have to say, your for Christmas, Emily gave me a Christmas card with a tarot card in it. She's like, this one was for you, and then the title on it is ambition, and I've had it on my altar since Christmas, and I walk by and I look at it and I'm like, yes. And so when I was planning to name the interview series, I knew I wanted to have the name Grace in it, and I've been like pulling words out of the sky, just like, is it this, is it that, is it this? And then just the other day, I walked by my altar and I saw ambition. I was like, oh, it's ambition and grace. So you helped me name this series, the interview series.
So love hearing that. That's awesome. That's beautiful.
So fun. Yeah, so fun. So I do have one last question for you.
Okay.
How is it that you turn your soul on?
I love that question. When you even just asking it, actually, I felt it in my pelvis, and it's kind of like, woo.
Nice.
Yeah, how do I turn myself on? So I am an introvert. I'm an outgoing introvert, but alone time is really important to me. Of course, there's like a fine line, but so I do my best to set aside time just for me, where my phone's on airplane mode or I have it turned off, and I kind of decide then, whether it be going out in nature and hiking, especially living here in Boulder, is a really important value of mine. And I find when I hike or I'm on the trail, I'm a leisure trail runner, but trail running, I always come back home. I come back to my own happiness. Anything that was worrying me before, I feel so connected to so much more greater than me. So either going on the trails, or for example, last night I had an evening by myself at home, and I have a little portable infrared sauna. So getting into the sauna with a meditation, taking a bath. I have my little altar place is just full of crystals and rocks, and that makes me happy. So even just centering in there, but really taking the space every day, to do at least a 15-minute meditation, because it really, we can just get so busy. And even, with how the work that I do and the teachings I do, my mind can get busy, and it just feels like a saving grace to come back and just pause and I don't need to figure anything out, and so setting aside that time. But usually, that alone time is really essential for me.
Well, it makes total sense, because you're an embodiment coach. So how do we be embodied? We take a moment to allow it, right? Yeah. It doesn't happen when we're doing our to-do list, taking the kids to school, getting the groceries, paying the bills, And
it can weave in there, but it's easier to find it if you set it up.
Yeah, it's easier to stay in it if you set it up. Yeah, through those things, which is the ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Enlightenment. Taking quality time for yourself is important. I hear that.
Yeah. I'd
Awesome.
say that's how I turn my soul on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
But first thing, when being around women like you, that turns my soul on too, though, right? As much as I love to be alone, it does, I feel so incredibly blessed to have friends with amazing women and men, but who really light me up, and I leave feeling more elevated than when I came in. So that
awesome.
Yeah. So
it's beautiful being around you too. I appreciate you being in my life. Ladies, the reason why I wanted to do this interview series is, first of all, you probably get sick of hearing me talk, but second of all, there's just so much goodness that's out there, like with so many women and men, like you said. I'll have men on this too. There's so many people out there doing such great work, and they all have found their own path to that. And the reality is that everybody, it doesn't matter how successful you are or how not successful you are, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
We all have potential. We all have a desire to grow in some way. And it's so easy to let ourselves become limited by our own disbelief in ourselves. But when we can hear stories like you, that are just like, oh, I found my way. I had this ambition, and then grace came into my life and helped me get there. Then we can all know that it's there for us too.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah, it's there for us too.
It's there for us too, and I share that I'm not enough story, right? Because I would compare myself to those I saw doing work that I wanted to do, or women that I admired or was like, wow, especially when I first moved to Boulder, there was some women that I was like, oh wow, they're so awesome, they're so cool, they're out of my league. Guess what? Now they're my friends.
Awesome.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
We're all humans, remembering our humanity
That's
and
right.
also allowing us to tap into that potential and that desire of what you want.
So I hope more than anything this has been inspiring for you all, and I'm going to mimic what my mentor JLD from Entrepreneurs on Fire says. He says we're the culmination of the people that we hang around the most, right?
Yeah.
And so you've just taken an hour out of your day to spend quality time with us, and we thank you. We're glad you're here, and we hope that your lives are inspired beyond your wildest dreams. And we'll leave it with that. Have a blessed day and do whatever it takes to turn your soul on.